Hi friends, Chandrasekhar here again, and this time we are going to talk about I think it is eighth in the series of lecture on yogas that we are looking at, and I am trying to take one yoga at a time to be able to explain it better, or for it becomes easier to understand if we take one yoga at a time, because there are complex yogas, there are complex possibilities in a yoga. The way in which a yoga could fructify would also be different. Many a times we can get confused because we only look at part of the yoga and apply it directly to a horoscope, and are puzzled when the results are not those which we expect, or as they are given as in the yoga. So today we shall be looking at Pushkala Yoga, one of the yoga where again moon is base, but there are other things also. So you will find, see, doesn't take rocket science to understand that what would be basically the fulcrums or the points around which yogas would operate is the lagnaṁ, the personality of the people, sun, his self-confidence, moon, his mind. These are the basic, you can call it triad of the base of personality of a human being, and that would decide what he can do, and if he does something then the results would ensue. Ultimately कर्म फल के ही result हमें मिलते हैं. This is what is said in Hindi, which means we get results of our own actions. Now this action is derived by our mind, and so these things are very important, and if we feel we are capable of doing something, we will do it. So this yoga says, I try to keep the lectures on yogas a bit more compact, not going into 20 minutes as is my habit. At least I try not to, and so absorb them, understand them, try to find out what was to be the reason behind these yogas happening, because as I have been saying umpteen number of times, the ideal charts do not come to us, or the example charts which are generally given are rarely those which are received. There would be variations within them, and if we apply yogas without understanding the principle behind them or where from they derive their strength, then in all likelihood either we will think that none of the yogas occur in the chart, or vice versa. We might try to apply a yoga and tell about the results without understanding the basis of it, because other planets are bound to modify the yogas. Never forget this. That is what generally happens with yoga, and that is the reason again why I call yoga as empirical formula, which applied blindly would generally give results which we do not desire to have. We must understand why that formula is there and where it is to be applied, or how is it to be modified depending on the variables which apply. I hope I am pretty clear in what I want to convey. And so this is Pushkala Yoga. It says adhimitragṛhe kendre. That is, it is showing a particular bhava and a qualification of that bhava, where the yoga has to apply. What is that place? It has to be the house owned by the adhimitra, the bosom friend. We know there are two types of friendships: the permanent friendship amongst planets and the temporary relation between planets. The temporary relations between the planets come because of the relative placement of two planets from each other, and the permanent friendships are almost well known to everybody, so I am not going into that. You are all astrologers, and I know. And when a planet is both a natural friend and a temporary friend, then that planet is called as the adhimitra. So the house has to be of the adhimitra. It has to be in Kendra. And what should be there? Janmādhipatirvilagnapatiyuktaḥ. That means Lord of the Rashi occupied by moon. Now here we have to understand in Bhava lectures I must have said this, and if I have not taken that I am saying it, that lordship of a Bhava imparts strength to the Bhava, and strength of the Bhava will impart strength to the Lord of the Bhava. So then that Bhava is able to deliver something. What something we'll see. So at that place what is to be placed? The Lord of the Rashi occupied by moon and the Lord of the lagnaṁ, Lord of the ascendant. Both have to be occupied by these two planets. They could in certain circumstances be again in square from each other, though generally it is assumed they have to be together, but anyway this would all anyway cause the Gajageshari Yoga as you know it. Though moon is not here, it is the Lord of the Rashi of moon, so it's not exactly the Gajageshari Yoga. In some places it could be. When say Lord of the Rashi is suppose Jupiter and Lord of the Lagna is moon, then if they are in a Kendra, they would form a Gajageshari Yoga anyway, because they will be in Kendra from both moon and the Lagna Lord or Lagna. So, but that would be, that probability would be less naturally, and that house has to be of the adhimitra. Now, here is something about which I'll talk a bit later. And then what else? Paśyati balaparipūrṇo lagnaṁ. If they aspect the lagna, then that yoga, syātpuṣkalo yoga, then it is called as the Pushkala Yoga. Okay. So merely their placement would not help. There has to be something more. They have to aspect the lagna without any deficiency in their strength. So where from that deficiency would generally come from the Navamsha. So in Navamsha also these planets should be well fortified. Either they should be in exaltation or in a good bhava, or placed in house of at least the friend or some planet which is neutral to it. So this is where that what we call it, the 5-way yogas, the friendship which are looked at, will come into place. So 5 form of friendships, which also means enmity, because negative friendship is always enmity. So this has to be, because otherwise why say paśyati balaparipūrṇo? They are already the friends of house of bosom friends, plus they are in Kendra, which is also a good bhava to be occupied by a planet. So obviously by inference this means they have to have the Panchadha Maitri has to be considered, and then the same thing should be there, similar thing should be there in the Navamsha, because planets draw their strength, the bala, from Navamsha. We know that if planet is in debility in Navamsha and is in exaltation in the natal chart, still it will deliver results of the debility, not this exaltation, and vice versa. So this balaparipūrṇo has to be understood, otherwise we just shoot off, and then we may sometimes commit mistake and not understand why the yoga is not fructifying. So puṣkalayoge jātā, what happens? Puṣkalayoge jātā, jāyante bhūmipālakā, nityam, always. He is the one who takes care of land, which is generally the term used for kings. kṣitipativaṁśe jātā. Then he goes one stage ahead. This also you have to understand. If he is born in the family of a king, then mukuṭachatrānvitā, then what happens? He becomes Nrupa or bhūpāḥ, whatever you want to call it, because I think the chanda will need bhūpāḥ to be there. So in that case he will be king of kings, because then he has mukuta and he has chhatra. The Chhatrapati is something which those conversant with Hindi and our local languages, the Indian languages, will understand, is a king whose kingship is admitted or whose overlordship is accepted by other kings. But for that, he has to be already born in the, the clan of or the family of a king. So here we have to understand, whenever we apply the yogas, we have to look at what stage the person is born, and from there look at the height that the person will achieve, or the intensity with which that yoga will be able to give ultimate results. This has to be understood. The what I can say. Nowadays, what I find is people apply yoga like that without even taking into consideration what was the stage when that person was born, because that will decide the strength required for a yoga to grow to higher and higher and higher limits. So please understand this. So he is bhūmipālakā, he has got lot of lands, he has wealth. This will all be there, even if he is not born in the family of a king, even if he is not a prince or she is not a princess. Because as I am never tired of saying that Vedic astrology is sex neutral in certain matters. Or if she is a girl, she will be married to somebody who is very wealthy, or she will be a queen. Whatever is possible, depending on the times and the rules of that particular country or state where the jātaka, the querist, is born. This has to be understood. So now again we will come to, as I am given to bringing in new things, both so that those who are new to the science would understand, and even otherwise so that we take into consideration everything. Now what happens? Here we are generally looking at the planetary aspects. So most of the planets aspect the 7th house. But the thing which has to be remembered, that if it is Kendra, that is he has to occupy one of the squares, and has also to occupy the house of Adhimitra. In most of the lagnas, the ascendants, this lagna lord will not be occupying house of his friend. He would 90% be occupying house of his enemy. Moon could be in the house of friend, but not necessarily, because moon doesn't have any enemies, so he can be in house of friend, and then the lord of that planet could be from moon. He could be in 2, 3, 4, or 12, 10 and 11 houses, so he becomes temporary friend also and becomes Adhimitra. And what happens here? This doesn't come through. So there must be something, and that we will have to understand. So then we have to look at whether this would be applicable by more force when Saturn goes to the 4th house and Mars goes to the the 10th house, or maybe Mars even in the 7th house. This is what we will have to understand. Perhaps they will have to be placed in 10th and 4th and 10th, Saturn and Mars, and along with them the lord of the Rashi occupied by Moon. Then only it is possible, and Lagna Lord would be there, or they would be the Lagna Lords themselves. So this would be perhaps in all probability occur when the Lagnas are belonging to Saturn or Mars. This is my understanding. So it is not as simple a yoga as it appears at first glance, because when the moment Kendra comes, that is square comes. So like suppose Aries is the ascendant, then naturally 7th house will be owned by Venus, and Mars and Venus are not friends of each other, so Mars cannot be placed there. Also in the 10th house, what happens? Saturn is there. He is neutral to Mars, but he is also not friend. The only friend is 4th house. That is the Cancer. Cancer would be a friend of Mars. So you will have to think about it. Then in the Kendra, Mars might, but I would prefer that, see, he goes to the 10th house. So you will have to think about it very carefully before you jump to conclusion. And I am giving example of Mars not because I am talking about Mars, I am just giving you an example. Whereas Saturn in the 7th house or in the 10th house for Aries rising would be in friend's house. So Moon could be in house of Saturn. So you have to think very carefully what is that talking about. Paśyati balaparipūrṇo lagnaṁ. They have to aspect the lagna. So even in case of Rashi aspects, if we take them into consideration, there is no harm in taking them into consideration. Parashara also talks about Rashi aspects. Then very obviously the lagnas will have to be dual lagnas. When Mars can aspect the lagna, that is ascendant, even if he is in the 4th house, because only in case of dual lagnas, a planet placed in a dual Rashi will aspect a dual Rashi, and whenever there is dual lagna or ascendant, I many a times interchange the word lagna and ascendant, and I think you have understood by now. You are all great astrologers, so you would know that. Interested in Vedic astrology, so much more so. In which case, from all these 3 places, they can aspect. So Moon even being in the 4th house doesn't matter. This has to be understood. This has to be applied to the charts that come to us, and then observe the results, what is happening in the life of that person, and then accept the yoga. So don't go blindly, don't apply yoga blindly without understanding each of the word which is given. If one of them is not being satisfied, then what would happen? It doesn't mean the yoga just extinguishes. Its strength is weakened. So, like Saturn in the 7th house, occupying, say, Libra, he would be both endowed with the strength of exaltation as well as directional strength. So he will be much more powerful there. So the more the power, more the effects of the, more powerful are the effects of the yoga. So like in democracies, instead of a governor of a state like in US or chief minister like in India, he will be the president of US or the prime minister of India. So this has also to be understood. This is how we should look at each and every yoga. Just because a yoga is told, we don't need to jump to conclusions. Otherwise, we many a times commit mistakes. Like in certain cases, I think in Chandra Yoga, I must have told that if sun is in square from moon, then he is weaker and something like that is there. But what happens when it is Purnima, the full moon day? Sun will be in square to the, because sun will be opposite moon, and that gives moon the strength. So why should it be a weak combination? So we have to always apply our mind, our logic, and the principles that we have learned so far of astrology before jumping to conclusion and giving some, over the top, sort of predictions. We should give hope to the Jataka, but not something which might not be achievable. This is how I look at astrology, and that is what I am trying to tell you. I hope you like this lecture. Let me know your comments. I always welcome both the bouquets and the brickbats, so you don't have to pull your punches. And that gives me an understanding about on what topics I should talk and to what depth I should go while delivering the lecture. So my friends, I'll take your leave and a very good night. Namaste.